All right, so good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. This is probably one of my first times doing something like this, but I get questions all the time on, well, not only do I get questions, but I get products and services pitched to me all the time about getting their products in my hotel, and I feel so bad because I can't really help them. I can, but I can't, and I'll explain to you why. So we're going to start off tonight. We're going to have do an introduction. I'm going to talk about my story, talk about why it could be good for you to potentially partner with the hotel, and then understanding the hotel industry. And then we're going to talk about prep and pitch, and then we'll leave time for Q&A. This is me, the hotel queen. That's what folks call me. So just a little bit about myself. I've been in the industry for over 15 years. I started off as a front desk agent at the Hyatt Regency Atlanta, which is in downtown Atlanta. And I an author of a book called How to Buy a Hotel, have over $1 billion. Excuse me, I managed over $1 billion in assets, but majority of them are hotels. And currently I have 30 million assets under management. I've been featured in just about everything with the exception of Essence. So that's what I'm waiting on. And I received numerous awards. Probably my favorite ones was Georgia State University 40 Under 40, the International Society of Hospitality Consultant Emerging Leader, and the top 100 influential hospitality leaders. So this is just to let you know that you are in good hands when it comes to hotel ownership. So my three hotels have a Home2 Suites in El Reno, Oklahoma. That's 85 rooms. And I have an IHG, that's a Staybridge Suites, that's 145 rooms. That's in Indianapolis Fishers. And then I have a Hampton Inn Suites in Scottsburg, Indiana. And that's 86 rooms. So this is me when I was working at the front desk. I actually don't have any pictures of me at the actual front desk. If I do, I can't find them, or they in the lost SIM card somewhere. But because back then phones weren't that big when I was working at the front desk. So that's me. That's actually at Georgia State. It was across the street from the Hyatt while I was at Georgia State, because I started off as a front desk agent while I was a sophomore, I think, at Georgia State University, which is right down the street. So I navigated my way from operations. I was at the Hyatt for 6.5 years, and then I navigated my way from becoming working in operations to a hotel owner. I took a non-paid internship, so I learned about the consulting and development side of working in the space. And so yeah, so that was my journey from a hotel owner to from a front desk agent. So before we really get started, I want to understand, are you a product or service-based business? You can put it in the chat if you want to. Okay. Let's see. So we have products, or both, I think both the products. So as far as products and service, so for hotels, we rely on a lot of different suppliers for both services and products. Okay. And so, yeah, both the products. So this high level, what makes a hotel successful, right? So the location, the brand, and the operator. So hotel, so you understand, it's a type of real estate, but it's an operating business sitting on real estate. So as a supplier, your goal is to work with the business side. It could be the real estate side, but primarily it'll be the business side, right? So there are actually over 100 different brands. It's just too many to list. These brands, since I talk a lot about hotel ownership, these particular brands are good to start off with. And these are probably brands that are good to start off with for you all to become a supplier. So we have Choice Hotels, so Comfort Inn and Suites, Cambria, Hilton Hotels, so it's the Hampton Inn, it's the Home2 Suites, Intercontinental is Holiday Inn Express, Candlewood, Intercontinental, Wyndham. You have Wyndham Garden Inn, Super 8, Dulce, and then Best Western, they have Best Western and SureStay. So the biggest thing is, before we really get started, so a lot of times what people think, they're like, oh, Devon, I have this particular product, can I put it in your hotel? So even though it's 85 rooms and you probably think, oh, I can handle that. But when you're looking to get approved by the major brands, they want to know if you can handle all of the different Home2 suites. And so there are thousands and hundreds of Home2 suites and different brands. So if you can't handle it, then you probably won't get approved. All right. And, so at least start thinking about, okay, I can't handle it now, but moving forward, if I get approved, I can go ahead and get it set up so that way I can handle the big orders. And the reason why, if somebody's in a Home2 suite in El Reno, Oklahoma, the lotion should be similar to the one in New York City. It shouldn't be too completely, because think about it. Think about it when you go to hotels and you remember like IHG brands, like a Staybridge Suites, it's majority of the time they're Dove products. So probably would be hard for someone who owns a soap company or lotion company to get in with Staybridge because it's Dove, right? But I know when I go to a Staybridge Suites, I know what to expect. So that's why brands have certain suppliers, because guests start to expect certain things. So when you start differentiating it, it causes confusion, right? To the guests. Now, there are some one-offs, independent hotels, you can work with them if you have a particular product that matches what they're looking for, which we'll talk about in a few, or if you were dealing with the soft brand. So a soft brand is a combination of independent and a branded hotel, right? So we'll get to that in a few. So the next thing is just high level steps. You definitely want to understand the hotel industry. Because you want to understand what you're getting into. You want to be able to speak the language. That'll make it easier for you to get approved to become a vendor or a supplier. So after you understand the hotel industry and the different types of hotels and the different types of brands, then you can start applying to become a supplier. But again, if you can't handle the mass orders, then I would wait, right? Or you could go ahead and start the process to see what it's like, but just let them know, that you probably won't be able to do it for 2 to 3 years or something like that. Just be honest, because I would hate for you to get approved and you can't handle it. And then that doesn't look good for you, as well as working with the other brands. And then you want to prepare and pitch, because again, you got to pitch. So creating your criteria, I usually call it investment criteria, but in this case, it's supplier, right? So what kind of hotels are you looking to be a part of? Who's your target audience? Are you certified? Can you handle the orders, and how are you going to present? So sometimes people, they'll send me chocolate. I don't eat chocolate, right? Or they'll send me popcorn. No, I didn't get the popcorn yet. Somebody sent me wine, but the wine wouldn't work at any of my hotels because we don't really have a bar. And also, if you a wine company, they don't supply, you can't be a part of the supplier program. You have to go to the hotel individually, right? But you need to go to a hotel that has a bar, a high income producing bar, right? So those are the things that you want to think of when it comes to target. Who's going to use your product? So I get a lot of Black owned businesses that want to work with me. My hotel is in Oklahoma, 40 minutes outside of Oklahoma City. We don't even have any Black people working at the hotel, let alone our demographics. There's not a lot of Black people staying there. So if you have a product that's catered to Black people, it won't work. Like I couldn't even help you because, for one, it's so specific. And then two, you didn't need, when you approached me, I knew you didn't do your homework. Because if you would have done your research and homework, you wouldn't have presented me a Black owned product or Black owned hair care product, because we can't even, I can't even help you out because we don't even have Black people working at the hotel because of the area that it's in. Right. If you have some type of food or something, that goes with the restaurant, I don't have a restaurant in any of my hotels, so it won't work. So that's why it's important for you to do your research, right? And understanding what kind of hotel. The biggest thing is understanding who's your target audience. Like you already have a target audience for your product. So where are these people staying? Because they're going to want to enjoy it, right? So why hotels, right? So it could be potential revenue, brand exposure, of course, consistency and reliability. So they had the Bliss spa products, right? So I don't know if you are familiar with that, but if somebody came to a W hotel and they went to the spa, they fell in love with the product and they end up buying it, right? So it's that brand exposure. And so now they're going online and try to find Bliss and try to do this. Think about the linen at the Ritz-Carlton, or the linen at Westin, right? Or the beds at Westin. They loved it so much, people started buying it. So brand exposure, you're getting your brand into a different audience or to a new audience that you probably wouldn't be able to do. All right. So that consistency and reliability, right? Because it's in a hotel, again, you have people constantly staying there, which is the goal. So, and that's consistent revenue. That's the biggest thing, right? As a supplier, it's just that consistency of the revenue and the reliability because, okay, as a brand, they're going to come in, they're going to want a bulk order, they're going to do this. And then another reason why you want to be able to support it because other hotel owners, or management companies typically who make the decisions, if the hotel is managed, then, they're going to want to constantly, or you have to keep up, right? Sometimes I don't know if you say to the hotel and they say, oh, we're out of linen. And you thinking in your head, what? Well, that supplier probably it didn't come in time, right? So again, that hurts the guest experience. So if you can't be consistent and reliable, that hurts and it could end your contract. So we talked about the hotel types before. They're luxury, boutique. People get boutique and lifestyle confused. So boutique by definition, rooms less than 50, or hotels less than 50 rooms. Lifestyle is more of, the ambiance, the cool bar, green chair, like cool white paper, like that's lifestyle, it's not boutique. Budget hotels are typically like your, Super 8, travel lot. Those are more economy hotels. Extended stays, your home to suite stay. So again, you have to understand the different types of hotels. They have a mini course where it goes through all of this information as well, the different types of hotels, so you can kind of understand it. So you can see where your product fit. Because I would hate for you to pitch to work with the brand and that product or service does not fit at all with the brand you're pitching. And hotels, like Marriott has like 30 different brands. So maybe not Marriott as a whole, but maybe your product will work with the Marriott full service hotel, right? And then again, what I was talking about before, make sure you're aligning with the right brand and do your market research, right? If you have a product that focuses on, primarily dealing with minorities, and that hotel that you're approaching you're gonna look crazy, right? So you want to promote to hotels that are in line with what you're doing, right? Aligned to your target audience. Now it could be in an area that maybe is more urban and you've done your research and you see that they have a high customer base of minorities. Well, then that could help you because now you can offer, and that's an incentive to them because now they can offer a product that caters to minority hair care, right? But another thing is you have to do it in bulk. I don't know if you've seen it in the hotels where they have the tall, like the tall bottles where you can just, that's easier. And that's a cost, it's more so for cost. Everything is about cost. So if you can save a hotel cost or expenses and you can increase and you can make the experience better, that should be a part of the pitch, right? So some certifications that you can take a look at would be the National Minority Supplier Development Council. They offer the SBA Office of Business Development Program, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program with the U.S. Department of Transportation, the NGLCC certificate, all of these different certifications, even though you probably are a minority, it still helps that you're certified, even though they can tell, okay, you're either woman or you're Black, but it just still helps that it increases your chances of becoming approved. And also the next thing is you want to prepare, right? They're gonna ask you for a capability statement. They're gonna ask you to develop a pitch. They're gonna ask you for marketing, what are your marketing materials? If you have samples, that's always handy. Any case studies or testimonials. Again, these are major brands that have millions of people experiencing their hotels every year. And Marriott and Hilton, they're really big on, because those are the top 2 brands in the world. So they're really particular about their brands. Definitely you want to identify who are the key contacts, who are the decision makers. A lot of times people think it's the general manager. Depending on what it is, it could be the general manager, it could be the director of food and beverage. So you just have to understand who if you're trying to go to a hotel specifically, maybe they focus on local food and they want to support local businesses. Then if it's a food, probably talk to the food and beverage director. If it's something dealing with rooms, then talk to the director of rooms. So you have to understand who makes those decisions, right? If you want to, have a fly, you're a florist and you want to get your flowers in the hotel every week, then probably talk to the director of rooms. I wouldn't talk to the director of food and beverage or the director of revenue management, right? So you need to understand those key contacts. So if anyone is interested, I do have an accelerator. It's a 4-week program where we go through in detail everything that I just pretty much talked about. Hold your hand, basically show you what it would look like, what they would probably expect. I'm gonna have actual suppliers in the program, meaning they're gonna come and speak. They can tell you exactly what they're looking for, and you can ask them whatever you want to ask. This is the actual brand, and these are the people that actually makes the decision. They're over the supplier program and over the procurement, right? And so these are the people that's going to be making the decision. That's going to see your application, because sometimes you submit it and you don't even know where it went. You don't know if it went in limbo. You don't know if anybody saw it. Like, it was wrong. You don't know anything. So if you are interested, it starts July 1st. This is your investment if you decide to move forward. Thank you. If you have any questions, please let me know. And that's my contact information. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn. Vestor is a crowdfunding platform, and I have a Facebook group called Vestor Academy. So now we can open it up for questions.
I will be interested in, being mentored.
Okay. Okay. I'll send you the link. Let me put it in the chat. And yeah, and the reason why I did this, like I said before, because it was so many people, so many businesses trying to work to try to partner with hotels. And not even that, I saw the opportunity as well, and I saw the power that I had by being a hotel owner. And I just wanted to get my people those opportunities. And I realized once you get in one hotel brand and once you get in one major company, the process is the same, right? Literally, it may be a little different, but the fundamentals are the same. So it's like, okay, let me learn about this particular industry, but it's the same thing. They want you to be certified, right? They want you to put together a capability statement. They want you to pitch. Do you have samples? Can you handle the mass production, right? Can you, like if you could try to put in for Delta, for McDonald's, all of these different, they all have suppliers. And guess what? The biggest issue is not enough minority suppliers. That's why I was told the entire council for it. It's not enough minority suppliers. One, they don't understand, they're not prepared. And the biggest thing is they can't handle the volume. So if going in, okay, this is what they're looking for, because you've done your research, you basically came and prepared. So okay, let me put my team together, let me get my warehouse, or let me do whatever you need to do to get ready, so that way you can handle those bulk orders. Because guess what? They are looking for minority buyers.
Okay.
Okay, we got another question. I'll put it in the chat. It says, what's the normal process time for approvals from start to finish? It depends. It could be anywhere from weeks to months to years. It really just depends on how prepared you are. And also by you having a relationship, everything is all about who you know, right? So that's the biggest thing. Everything is all about who you know. So by you getting in the front door and having somebody, actually look at your, look at what you're submitting definitely helps. The biggest is if the less they have to go back and forth with helps a lot. Because if they have to go back and forth with you, I mean, they want to help, but it's like, look, this is not my job, right? So the more prepared and the more ready you are, it can be a lot easier. And a lot of times, if you are more like a local brand, then maybe you can just focus on a particular region. And then once you build your business up, then maybe you can handle the work with the brands. Maybe you could just start with working with a particular like hotel, right? It could be a local hotel. Maybe you have some type of ingredients or a spa. It's the same thing. You want to work with a spa. You have products that work well with the spa. Okay, so who's the decision maker? Are you prepared? Like, are you ready to go? So that way it's easier. And then the biggest thing is how to pitch. So how is this going to be a better guest experience and how is this going to be better for an owner, right? Because the goal is to make money. And so if owner or the hotel isn't really, they're going to lose money working with you, they're not going to work with you. But if you're able to say, hey, this is the service, this is the product that I can provide, and I can enhance your guest experience, which at the end of the day, what will that do? Increase revenue because they're going to come back or they're going to leave great reviews. And then why is it important to be certified? That is a great question. It's just more so to make sure, it's kind of like they want to make sure that sometimes with companies, what they do, they may not be minority, they'll have somebody else who's not a minority. And they'll be the face, at least with that certification, and also the goal with this certification is to help you get prepared as well. So it's just going through it gives you more validity. It just makes you stand out as far as application, and it also helps you get government contracts as well. So that's why it's important to be certified, because it sets you apart, even though they can look at you, but also, think about the application. They don't know you, right? They don't know what you are. They don't want to judge, right? And so if they say, okay, so minority certified, they actually went through a program that proves that they're certified. There's some certifications that are free. So we'll talk about that as well. There's some certifications that are free, like the Small Business Association. Their certification program is free. And it just also just gives you more. The biggest thing that helps you with the government process as well, right? So meaning now you're certified and you're able to work. Because another thing is a lot of companies, it's not a quota, but they have certain numbers that I hate to say numbers, but certain goals that they want to achieve for minority participation. And so it helps with those numbers, if that makes sense. That's why it's important. Like certain cities and certain states, they have to have a percentage of minority participation in order for the deal to happen. Like Atlanta, I think it's like 20% if it's a government contract. Don't quote me. It's like it's in the teens or high teens or in the 20s, but it's a certain percentage that in order for the contract have to go through, it has to be minority. Now, if it's the minority is the lead person, then it has to be 20% like non-minority. So it's like vice versa. So it's just more so to help the minorities get a piece of the business as well. And then helping the business basically saying, hey, we have minority participation, this is our numbers.
Okay, I have a quick follow up to that. So
Yeah.
so when you're looking at certifications, is one kind of better over the other? So you look at City of Atlanta versus, like you were saying, like the Small Business Association or the veterans. So when you're looking at it, is it better? One or the other is better. I guess maybe it's where if you're going.
Yeah, where you interested. That's a part of their research, right? So in the program, we'll have hotel suppliers there so they can and a lot of these hotel suppliers, they work for different companies. They didn't come, a lot of these suppliers never even worked in a hotel. They're just that's just what they do. They're just a supplier. So they go around from different companies. So they can answer that question, but it's also based off of what you're trying to do, right? If you're trying to work more with veterans, then it may, or if you are a veteran, it may make sense for you to get the veteran certification, right? If you're trying to get more government contracts, probably go through the SBA, right? Their program. Because there's certain things that you have to do as a to work with the government. And the biggest thing is just it lets folks know that you're serious, and it's just basically proof that you're a minority, even though, especially if you're a Black woman, it's like, hello. But can't hide it. But it's just more so, it again, going back to, it just depends on what you're trying to do. And also depends on your budget, right? Because some of the certifications can be like $900, and then it's a certification that's free.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're trying to get a contract and you need that certification, because some of the companies, they'll tell you which certification they're looking for. And so if you can get away with not having one that's like 7.5, however much it is, and you get away with the free one, then you go get the free one and go through the program and go and just learn about the process and learn whatever you're trying to do.
Okay, that's a good point. Just maybe starting off with that one, and I don't know if the City of Atlanta one is free or not, but that would be something maybe to start off with, just to learn and then expand, because you can have multiple, I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, you can. It's some companies that probably have them all, right? They're trying to get as much minority participation and they bid across the country. Like I said, once you understand the fundamentals, and some people, what they do, they'll bring on a minority. That, matter of fact, that happened to me, where I was the only Black in the company, and the firm that I was working for, they were trying to put in for a contract, and they were like, we only want to work with a minority, and we rather work with minority companies. It was like, well, here we have a Black woman, you know what I mean? So sometimes, companies, they, especially more and more now with DEI, they want to make sure that minorities are participating. So with the City of Atlanta, they may have different programs and different services, and again, relationship based, and getting involved, and making sure that you can fulfill the services. But having something like the SBA, like having those type of certifications, it just makes you stand out. That's like having, a real estate, agent that's certified in a particular area. Maybe you rather work with a real estate agent that's certified in working with veterans, as opposed to someone who's not. Just because they went through that extra level of education, you may want to work with that person because they're certified, because that's their specialty. Did y'all have any other questions?
Well, no, it seemed like you cover, for me, it seemed like you cover the questions that I had.
Yeah, trying to get in a hotel. Yeah, sometimes what people do, the biggest thing is I know with liquor, you'll have to, like I said before, you have to go through the hotel directly. If it's something that's really special or really unique, it may not be best to go with like I hate to call them stuffy, but like a corporate hotel, because of their clients. But if it's something more, and you could go to like a an independent hotel, that whose guests are more eccentric and they're willing to try something different, you know what I mean? And they're okay with that, as opposed to maybe there's someone that's corporate and, they just want to stick with what they know and this particular brand and that lotion. So again, just going back to that market research.
Mhm.
So what about places like motels, like like a little motel, just it by itself? Is this something good to start with, or?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, depending on what they offer, that goes back to that market research. Motels,
Okay.
they don't offer a lot of amenities, but motels that have been converted to boutique hotels,
Mm-hmm.
depending on it all goes back to your target audience, right? So if your
Okay.
target audience is going to stay at a motel and
Mm-hmm.
it can make that motel more money or the guest experience better, I would try it. But if it
Okay.
doesn't, and also, will it make sense for you? Sometimes motels, it doesn't have a lot of people staying there. So will it make
Yeah.
sense for you to get involved? And typically with motels, they don't offer a lot of amenities. So you just,
Okay.
unless you do like linen or something or soap or something, I don't,
Okay.
yeah, it just depends on, again, what that hotel, what will make sense for that particular hotel in that particular region. If you have like a barbecue sauce company or something, or somebody has or a hotel that has a barbecue restaurant or something, then
Mm-hmm.
maybe if you make a specialty barbecue sauce and try to partner up with them because it's a local barbecue sauce. That's what I mean.
Got you. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, or if you're a photographer,
Mm-hmm.
get in contact with the PR or the director of marketing, because there's always something that needs to be photographed, and they like your work, you're reasonable, you're on time, you get them the prints on time, they'll continue to work with you. If you're a social media specialist, a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
outsource a lot of things, right? So you can do it. Again, you just have to contact the right person. If you are, sometimes with service, depending, they don't recommend it, like babysitting services. Some hotels, they don't recommend it because they don't want to be held liable. So if it's
Mm-hmm.
too much of a risk, but maybe like if you have a driving service, like a transportation service, because sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people stay at hotels, they rather go through the hotel, because if the hotel recommended, they feel more comfortable because they know the hotel won't put them at risk.
Right.
That's why the testimonials and case studies and everything is so important, because the hotel, they don't want to get like sued. That's the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing. They don't want to get sued because they're not going to sue you. They're going to sue the bigger person, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so that's just something you have to think about, and from a brand standpoint, when you're, pitching your case, pitching your brand.
Mm-hmm.
Or like gift shops, maybe the hotel don't want to work with you, but there may be a gift shop there. Like there's some gift shops, they have like jewelry and clothes and all types of stuff. So it's different creative ways of how you can get involved.
Okay.
So what I'm definitely hearing is you have to do your market research to figure out
Yes.
where you're going. Because from what we were looking to do is the spas based on our product, get in with them. So I already know we would be looking more at the luxury and the boutique lifestyle.
Yep. See, you coming to me, it won't work because I don't even have a spot. And then I'm gonna look at you and be like, you ain't even
Mm-hmm.
look to see what kind of hotels I have. Yeah, but you go to, maybe you can like go into to the spa and just kind of look around and see. All of that is a part of market research. See which brands are there, because some of them don't work with outside brands. Some of them only work with certain kinds. So, but there are some hotels that are very exclusive, very high-end clientele, right? So it all just depends on what you can provide and what would make the hotel and the guest feel comfortable. But the biggest thing is if it's something that's so good that the guests are like, oh my gosh, I gotta find this and I gotta use it and I want it shipped to me. That's where that exposure comes from. Because now, not only did you get revenue from the hotel, but now the customer fell in love with it. They love you so much, and now they're gonna contact you and they want you to ship it out to them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. So it's basically, so then my contact person, I would say, would be the spa, the owner, or who, the manager, I guess that would be the person I would need to.
Well, it depends, right? Because sometimes spas are they're leased, meaning it's a spa chain. So that may not be the right person for you to talk to. It may be that person over their head.
Oh, good point.
You see what I'm saying? All of that is a part of market research. So you have to understand who is the decision maker, because the manager may not be the decision maker. So they may say, oh yeah, I'm gonna pass it along. And what happens? So you following up with the manager that doesn't have any say so. It could be the director of rooms. You don't know who the person is.
Good point.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of, I guess that's why you were saying it kind of takes, based on your research or whatever, it could take a while, because one, you have to go in and really find out who you need to talk to.
It may not take, it really just depends on you. Like some people move faster than others. It depends on how hungry you want. If you like, look, look, this is my deadline. I'm getting in a hotel by this date, blah, blah, blah. You're gonna move a lot differently because you determined. So it may not take that long. If the more prepared you are when you pitch, the faster it will be. But also you can ask them what the process, but then it's better to follow up with the decision maker than someone who's not the decision maker. Because if you had a decision maker, you can follow up, you can be creative, you can do a whole presentation, you can give samples. It's so many different things that you can do. Because the thing is you're pitching, you want to create an experience where they're like, you know what? I want this, and it's all about the presentation. You're like, okay, I want this particular product in my hotel or spa or
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I'll make sure if there's not any more questions, I'll make sure I send you all the replay. I put the link in the chat for you all to sign up. Like I said, the program starts July 1st, 4 weeks intense. You're gonna get some homework. I'm gonna hold you to it. I'm like, did you do your research? Did you do this? Did you do that? We're gonna bring in the actual suppliers. Like I said, the people that's gonna look at your application, they're gonna be, so you can ask them all the questions you want. I'm gonna walk through how to apply, the different sites to go to, because all the brands have supplier sites. So what does that look like?
Okay.
And then we'll practice. The biggest thing is we'll practice the pitch. That's the biggest thing. Practice the pitch. You know what to say. The pitch and presentation.
Yeah.
People are visual, right? And if you have a product, you want it to be, it's kind of like Shark Tank, right? You know, when people come on Shark Tank and then they don't have a product and you like, what? I want to see it. Like, I don't understand. I want to feel it, right? So everything is visual. And the biggest thing is the presentation. How do you look? How does the packaging look? All of that level of detail. What does the font look like? Like that level of detail, especially you're trying to get in the luxury hotel brands, they're really going to be big on the presentation.
Maybe I'll start small and work my way up.
But like I said, once you understand the fundamentals, it's just limitless. Like it's unlimited. Like because you understand the fundamental, you just grow from there. I mean, how you think these companies started? And then they start listening to the customer. They start listening to the hotels of what was needed, and that's how they was able to grow.
Good information. Thank you.
Oh yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll look for the link, and I'm also going to send you a picture of us together.
Okay, I remember. All right. Thank you all so much. You
All
all
right.
have,
Thank you.
you have a good night. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, you too. Thank you. Bye bye.